Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Cory and this is an INEOS Grenadier, but not just any INEOS Grenadier. This is one of 1924, yes, a 1924 special edition. I'm in Aspen, Colorado, where INEOS was gracious enough to fly me out to experience this in its natural habitat. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick tour, go on a quick drive both on-road and off. You'll want to stay tuned. Yes, gearheads, I am clearly not in Texas anymore. It is snowing. It is beautiful here in Aspen, Colorado. I am actually on Kevin Costner's Dunbar Ranch, just outside of Aspen, where INEOS has brought us plenty of their new both SUV and pickup truck to test in, well, a very natural environment for this off-road focused vehicle. In fact, this vehicle just won Off-Road SUV of Texas from the organization I am the president of in Texas Auto Riders, and the Quartermaster Pickup won Off-Road Pickup for the state of Texas for 2025. So clearly I was ecstatic to get to test these off-road in such a unique environment. But before we get to all that, I do want to take you on a quick tour of what makes this thing so unique. It is a British vehicle built in France with a German engine and Italian axles. So under the hood here, we have a 3-liter inline 6 from BMW. It is a very good, very stout engine that I have enjoyed my time with. It is their B58 inline 6, making 281 horsepower, 331 pound-feet of torque. And because it's an inline 6, it is very stout. It is mated to a ZF 8-speed automatic transmission. And yeah, I can tell you the top speed is limited to 99 miles an hour. 0 to 60 is in 8.8 seconds, but that's not why you are buying this. You're buying it for its off-road capability. And that's what I really want to talk about a lot in this video, because I have now been able to sample it on-road and off-road. I have been living with this for the day, and I can say it's a very good package all the way around. We'll get into kind of how it performs later when we are driving, but the design, the inspiration of this really harkens back to the classic Land Rover Defenders, back when it was actually a Land Rover Defender. Now Defender is like a brand, and 110 and 130 and 90 are the models. It gets really messy. But Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the head of INEOS Global, which is kind of a petrochemical energy company, really set out to build something special here. We're going to get into a lot of what makes this special, but it really is harkening back to those original Land Rover Defenders. But it's really got more in common with the original Mercedes G-Wagon than it does a Land Rover Defender. We've got solid axles front and rear. We've got that inline 6 with full-time 4-wheel drive. You've got 4 high, 4 low with a manual transfer case, which I really love. This really is as old school as you can get for 2025 markets, and we'll get into that as we take a tour of it. But the look very much is kind of a blend between G-Wagon and original Defender, and I think it works. It also really works off-road because it's very square. You can see everything around you very nicely and easily. You can very well place it exactly where you want it. Talking about the style though, it is unmistakable when you see these things on the road. We have quite a few in my hometown of Tyler, Texas, and I smile every time I see one because they are just so unique and so unlike anything else in many different ways. It seems like everything's gone digital when this thing really is as analog as it could possibly be for the modern era. We've got a great great approach, departure, breakover angle in this. It really is centered around, focused on being the most off-road capable. It's got impressive off-road numbers, impressive ground clearance, just everything about it really speaks to the way things used to be. Again, solid axles, things like that. This one being the 1924 edition, which is a partnership with Belstaff, kind of their design house that also does jackets. That's what their models are named after, the Trial Master and the Field Master. This is a 1924 special edition, so we get these special edition wheels wrapped in BF Goodrich KO2 tires. They are, I have it on good authority, leaning into the new KO3s, so we will be seeing that in good short order. But one of my favorite things, you can see it right here, is the wheel size on these. So 17-inch wheels on this particular model. We've got a 265/70 R17. I love that we haven't gone 20s or anything overly outrageous in size, and I think it absolutely works. Again, the 115-inch wheelbase on this does lend to great approach and departure, breakover angles, and the wheels stretched out to the corners lead to great approach and departure. So I really do like that. We've got running boards on here for a little bit of assistance. And then you can see all kinds of different spots on the side of this vehicle to attach gear and different elements that you might need depending on what adventure you are trying to equip yourself for. You can see we also get this Belstaff 100-year anniversary for 2024, this special edition. So normally you would get a half French flag, half German flag right here, because as I joked earlier, this is a this is a British car made in France with a German heart. And so they're honoring all the different elements and different countries that help make this happen. As we come around to the back, very squared off back end, you've got that ladder to climb up onto the roof. The roof is strong enough to actually hold real life adults, so you can climb up there, you can secure your cargo if you have to, so you don't have to be worried about denting your roof or anything like that. As we open these split doors back here, the size and shape is very deliberate because this has a British European tax credit if it can fit a European pallet back here in the back. So 1 meter cubed is what they were going for here, and that allows for a tax credit, much like Americans get a tax credit for a vehicle weighing over 6,000 pounds. The European market does give a tax credit for being considered a commercial vehicle or a van, and this definitely fits that, being able to fit a 1 meter cube pallet back here. But you can see we have all kinds of attachment points back here. And then of course we've got our full-size spare tire back here on the back. We do have a backup camera on this because that is federally mandated to sell in the US, but unlike the Jeeps and Broncos of the world, it's not sticking out of the center of the spare tire, so it does make that just a little bit easier when it comes to actually having to use that spare tire. So it is actually hiding underneath the spare back here, and we'll see it in action here in a little bit when we climb inside. And then I did reference the G-Wagon. This very much feels like a G-Wagon when it comes to climbing inside. So you've got to press the button here with the thumb and pull the door handles open. This being the Belstaff 1924 edition, has a very bespoke interior with all these green accents. We're going to see a lot of call outs to that partnership with Belstaff as we get in here, but you can see power windows, power locks. That's expected in the modern era. We've got power mirrors, but this is a very analog interior. So you can see here, manual seats on all trims, all grades. You will not find a power seat. And you can see your height adjustment here. Your recline is kind of far back here, but these are Recaro seats. Now, Recaro as a brand has gone through some iterations. They actually licensed out their brand name. So the company that was originally making their seats with the Recaro name went out of business. An Italian company bought them and kept all the molds, the precise measurements. So INEOS is back in business here. I will say I kind of lament not having a handle here, but you can grab the steering wheel here and climb in. I'll go ahead and close the door because it is just above freezing outside. And then when we get in here, you can see, you may be questioning me, Corey, you said this is a very analog vehicle, but we have a center mounted digital screen here, nothing in front of the driver. And that really is leaning into current trends. It's also leaning into the partnership with BMW, the powertrain. There has to be a certain amount of electronics in here for modern powertrains. So that kind of is a prerequisite. And then going with the powertrain, the ZF 8-speed, you can see this is straight out of a BMW. It was going to cost an outrageous sum of money to re-engineer this specifically for INEOS. So INEOS just borrowed from BMW here. But this whole center stack is because of the BMW powertrain underneath. The electronics in here are basically just what you need, nothing more. So we do get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto in here. We actually lean into that, but then we have all of our off-road screens and gauges. You can see all your pertinent driver information is over here closest to your eye line. We'll talk about that a little bit more here in just a moment, but I've really left it on this off-road screen right here. You can see we've got our altitude, our pitch and roll, all that good stuff right there. And then our steering wheel, you've got your cruise control buttons right here that also works with our hill descent control, which we have a lot of toggles up here. I very much feel like I'm in a cockpit of the space shuttle up here. We've got all of our pre-wired auxiliary switches right up here. None of this stuff up here is waterproof, which you would have to be splashing water to get it up here. But all this stuff is the stuff you don't want to accidentally hit or anything like that. So if you're off-roading, you can see we've got front and rear lockers, we've got off-road mode, waiting mode, traction control, stuff like that, all up here. Some of your lighting controls. And then again, I call out to this being the Bellstaff Special Edition. You may have also noticed these manual Safari windows up above me that do open right there with a latch. I like them well enough. It just gives a little extra light in here, which works very nicely. But then coming down here, all of this is waterproof, so you should just be able to wash this out. If you've been out here in the mud and muck like we have been, you track it in, just wash it all out. You can see we've got heated seats up here, which is nice. Single zone climate controls. Again, not over engineering anything. Your audio controls down here, your hazard button kind of hidden here so you don't accidentally hit it. Really do feel like I'm in the cockpit of a plane or the space shuttle, like I said here. Very much little Cory's dream. Just very mechanical in here. And then you can see we've got some options down here with the toggle. We've got our off-road mode, things like that. Manual transfer case here for high and low, and you can lock the center diff from here. And then you can lock the front and rears as I showed you from up there. All around though, very clean design up here. We're talking about just this being a global car, the engineering of the corners and the materials up here. We've got this grab handle for climbing in, but they are in over 50 countries as we speak. The US market being the biggest market for INEOS at this point in time. But yes, very much catering to the entire world market. You have to think the US market, the Chinese market, and the EU are really dictating some of the design choices in here. So they did have to bump up against regulations. That's why you see some stuff like screens. And we'll go ahead and start it with the physical key here. And I'll show you, I'll put it in reverse. We've got our backup camera there. Basically just checking a box. Yes, it's there. Yes, it exists. The picture quality, it leaves a little bit to be desired. But overall, I would say they've met all requirements of modern vehicles, modern regulations, but really keeping it as simple as possible in here. Coming to me, I've got plenty of headroom up here. You can see with the Safari roof up above me, but I really do like this interior. We're gonna go ahead and pop out now. As I slide down, trying not to bust it in the snow. We'll move into the back seat. We've got a 60-40 split bench back seat here. You can see repeat of the green accents back here. The seats do actually fold down, so you can fold it down, put some additional cargo. It's not a smooth transition, but again, the requirement really was getting that 1 meter cube European pallet back there for the tax credit. You can see, again, no grab handles, but we do have some rails up here that you can grab to help climb yourself, bring yourself in. Sitting behind myself at 5'10", it is a little cramped back here, but still plenty roomy. We've got some nice touches like power and aircon back here, so no big complaints. You can see we've got some mounting points for if we wanted to put up some additional cargo gear. Even back here, nice headroom, nice amount of space, but what you really came for is seeing how this thing drives and performs both on road and off. So why don't we hook up the cameras and set off on the road, and we'll go through all of that. It looks like you've been having some fun back here. Oh, getting a little slippy.
Yeah, when we got here beginning of the week, we asked them not to plough anything. We just wanted to drive it. But obviously, I think yesterday was really warm afternoon, and just everything started to melt. So the snow today has been a bit of a blessing.
Yeah.
So if we stop here, we're just going to do some demonstration stuff, really. So we pop it into neutral.
Okay.
And then if you pop it out of diff lock, it's much easier to sort of go from high to low if diff lock's out.
Oh yeah.
And if you pull forward, so things like the locking differentials on this as well. With off-road mode, it turns off all your sensors, so then we'll get the beeping and bolts. So just carry a little bit of pacing through here, no problem at all. Diff lock goes in as easy as that.
Is that front and rear?
No, just rear.
Okay.
We're not worried about that. And just carry it all the way through.
Got Christmas tree here in front of me.
Yeah, so it's telling you you're in low ratio, you've got centre lock, you've got rear lock on. Because we've turned off, gone into off-road mode, that takes up all of our sensors as well. So it's telling us that we've basically gone into a legal state with the vehicle that wouldn't conform with the road. And coming out, it's as simple as pushing the button, and that's it, it's out. As soon as you push the button, the differential will release. But because we don't have additional sensors within the diff itself, it takes the turn. It's the speed across the axle that will tell the rear diff that it's out, but you can feel it straight away.
Yeah.
That's out. And you're in auto here. So when you're in off-road mode, the way that the vehicle is and the gearbox is programmed, it won't. A lot of vehicles will change up through gears when they're under load. This won't. So you won't lose that power, that torque, that momentum that you've gained on climbs, or if you're trying to edge brake on the sense, it will hold here. But if you rev through it, it will pull out, pull through it.
I mean, in low range, you shouldn't really be going through many gears anyway, right?
Yeah, no, it's going to hold sort of like it normally sort of pulling away in second or sometimes third. Very, very rarely will it drop down into first. We're only going to use first when we do a big descent, or we're also going to use the dual descent control at the same time. You feel a little bit of a load on the throttle, it will just come up through gears nicely. Just carry a little bit of drive up the other side. We've dug the whole of this out.
Yeah.
This wasn't here when we arrived at the beginning of the week. They'll follow around to the left.
Like I say, this is never wanting for power.
When you look at it compared to some of the other vehicles, especially you guys have here out of the US, it's a small engine, and it's. And again, things like, operating a differential, it's as simple as pushing the button and it's in.
Yeah, I feel like Toyota, you've got to stand on one leg, stick your tongue out, and...
I think the only thing with this is you've got to understand how the system works, because if you don't understand that it doesn't have additional sensors, it's working on the ABS system or the traction control system to move you through things, and then to sort of show that it's disengaged, then you might sort of struggle to sort of know when to put it in. So like now is a great time. We've come through that. If I knock it out now, you'll feel it's come out because we have to turn without sort of
crabbing.
Yeah. A sensitive is in as well. But it's dropped out and the light's gone out, so it's disengaged. And the one compromise that you'll have if you don't understand the system and don't play it right is that you can't engage hill descent control if it thinks you've got a differential locked in. Centre's fine, but front or rear, then it's an absolute no.
I'd have this one.
What's that?
I'd have this one.
It's a nice drive, isn't it? When you think it's on springs, you know, it's on coils. It's not on air.
It's more predictable. I am very grateful for this top dead center marker.
So yeah,
In this sort of environment, because you can be plowing, and
so easy.
Yeah.
It happens to all of us. I just love the little touches in this, like you say, you know, things that have been thought through. Give them come around to the left, then
left.
looks good. And then, but all the little nods to things that you know are important in Jim Radcliffe's life as well, like you know the cycling team, so the little toot Paul, and his boating, they've got Paul and Starboard on there, and the dash it, the market. You know, it's sort of things you don't see in most cars. The owner has that much influence, you know, over the final design. So hill descent control.
Okay.
It sets to the speed that you're travelling at. So as we had a little bit of speed there, but if you use the hill descent control in combination of so we can slow it down and bring it right the way down, and then we can speed it up as well.
So
It's got so much control.
Wow.
It's again because the drive team are independent. We don't work directly for INEOS, so we get to use lots of different 4x4s all the time. And I can honestly say the hill descent control system in the Grenadier is the best on the market. It starts to preload the brakes rather than snatch. Which a lot of cars will just snatch on the brakes, and then you get a skid and a slide, and then release the brakes, and it will start to sort of to deal with it. And they all deal with it very well. But it's the way that it pushes you to that point that is just such a relief in these vehicles, because you're not shock loading anything, you're not slipping and sliding, you're not creating a skid. And you know, which is another thing as well, is that you know you get erosion of tracks, and if you're someone that works the land and you're driving the same track over and over again, you want to protect that, because otherwise you're creating more work for you.
So I was looking at the spec sheet there. You know, Toyota claims 112.2 inches is the perfect ideal wheelbase for off-roading, but this is 115. I think this is overall, you've got good approach departure. I don't know why I put my bunker on. You've got great approach departure. The size, the width isn't too big to make it unmaneuverable. I didn't even tap it. Look at me.
Trial section, no points lost.
But like, I love full-size trucks because they're everywhere. They're a great family vehicle in Texas, but when it comes to off-roading them, no. And like I said, I'm driving a Chevy Colorado back home, testing one this week back home, and I think that's just the perfect form factor for what I would do. I don't need anything bigger than that.
Yeah.
And you start getting into stupid numbers.
Well, we've come out here, mate. The cars we see here, we would never see at home. Broncos, again, you can't see any Broncos in the UK, but the big trucks here, we just don't see.
I'm saying I'm very impressed with the control of this. Even I remember that they mentioned recirculating ball steering in the press briefing this morning, and it took me all of 5 seconds to get used to it. And out here is where it pays off.
Yeah, this car is so easy to place, isn't it?
Yes.
You just know exactly where. And the other thing we find, you know, even with rack and pinion steering, like modern rack and pinion steering, you still get that pull when you're working heavily roughed. With this, it doesn't. It smooths everything out, and you just start to sort of like fully on their hard right now and fully understand this vehicle once you've driven it for a little while. And we were doing a thing with the Top Gear magazine guys, and you know, Ollie, he quite, you know, openly admits when he first got in this, first 10 minutes, no, they've got this wrong. And then he had it for a few days and just, let's go right, please. And he said the whole thing just makes sense. And he absolutely, you know, and he absolutely loves the car.
Getting it in this environment makes everything else fall into place and make.
Okay, I'm just going to do hill descent control. I'm just going to get used to the feel of it. We're going to be using it seriously in a minute.
Nice, smooth and
isn't it? It's, you know, if you accelerate away and then come back off, it will just cut in smooth. It won't want to grab and just draw you back to sort of 4 or 5 miles an hour. And we're going into over there. Just carry a little bit of momentum in for yourself. Lovely.
Yeah, if I lived in this area, this would be on the list for sure. There's just something so familiar about it, so predictable about it. It's not over-engineered. Like you said, you know, I have all the extra sensors, nannies and all that getting involved.
Try to make it as simple as possible. It's you know, why put another system in place? You have a system in there that already works. Okay, so when we come to here, it's going to stop. Yeah, yeah. Stop it there. So we're going hill descent control.
Okay.
We're going manual. We're in first. You've seen it up there, and if you just push it down on the, that's it. Keep going. Just keep pushing down about 4 times. That's it. And then keep it nice and straight coming in. No brakes at all. Let the vehicle do everything for you.
Good gracious.
Slightly left now, that's it. That's it, just slightly left again. But look at that grip and that control.
Yeah.
And this is not an easy track. I can tell you it's not an easy track because I slid backwards down here in a 9-ton machine trying to dig this out the other day. And I slid about 10 feet.
And then I will still get comments on this part of the video. No, your Toyota Camry cannot do this. And this speaks a lot to the tire choice too. I saw BF Goodrich KO2s. That, I mean, you get the wrong tire and you're sliding down that.
No, exactly. I mean, they're a bomb-proof tire, aren't they? BF Goodrich. Definitely a tire of choice. Back into a little bit head down to the right and then back to the right. It's yeah, I mean, I've got the KO2s, obviously KO3s are about now, and we haven't experienced it yet, but really looking forward to. I know that INEOS Automotive have literally put a huge order in for those, so KO3s will be going on to the cars as they meet production. They come in once the tyres are released.
My on-road impressions of this. It's not a G-Wagon, but it is luxurious. It rides well for what it is. Solid axles, front and rear. Coil springs, front and rear. No air suspension. Keeping it simple. Not over-engineering it for engineering's sake. Not going with the latest fad or anything like that. Which, again, keeps it predictable when off-road. The recirculating ball steering, they said, was an intentional choice, as that is like the peak, the pinnacle steering type for placing it off-road. And I can say that is 100% true. The size, the shape, the squared off sides, the clean visibility lines in this, everything works to make this a perfect off-road vehicle. And there are some compromises when it comes to its on-road behavior. Again, it's not super plush posh here in the inside. It rides like a truck. But I think that is, again, some of its appeal, its charm, its character. It's got a bunch of buttons and dials. It's not all buried in the screen. Again, charm, personality, character. All the switches up here, charm, personality, character. And then just hopping in and going. It is a very easy vehicle to figure out because there's not a lot of stuff you have to do to hop in and get going. Sure, you can fiddle with the screen a little bit. You can do CarPlay, Android Auto, that kind of stuff. But really, it is a very simple vehicle to get in and go. Unfortunately for me, for you, this is just a speed date with the vehicle. I am nowhere near my normal home turf of Tyler, Texas, and definitely not in the climate that I am used to. Holly won't be reviewing this. We won't be saying what this is like in our daily life, but stay tuned because I have it on good authority. One of these will make it to our home test route in the very near future, so we can see what it is like to live with day in and day out especially with my wife, who is bound and determined to either have a Bronco or a G-Wagon. This sits right in between the two of those. It's a half-price G-Wagon. It is a much better Bronco than a Bronco, I think, and it does really well. Making a vehicle in 2025 is not easy. Making a brand new vehicle from scratch, a company that didn't exist before 2020, and then you throw a global pandemic on, it is truly impressive what the team has been able to do here. And they've hired away some of the best in the industry. A lot of engineers from G-Wagon came over here to INEOS and made this Grenadier. I cannot say enough about what the team has been able to do with this. On top of launching a brand, there have been growing pains. I was talking with George Ratcliffe, the son of the founder, and he was talking about just the thought process behind being able to ship body panels for vehicles that have had fender benders or things like that. It's all those small learnings. You don't know what you don't know in the automotive industry until it comes up. And so there's just been so much that impresses me about this vehicle, that it is so appealing. It's affordable too. We're in the $80,000 range for this vehicle as it sits. And in 2025, for the capability you get here, absolutely spectacular what the team was able to put together. This is a completely livable vehicle on road. There are some sacrifices. Ride quality, you get that truck jitter because it's body on frame, unlike the new Defender, which is a unibody construction. We've talked about the recirculating ball steering versus rack and pinion in modern units. We've had those solid axles, which again play to the off-road capability and maintaining ground contact, which is so very important as you're venturing off-road. It really is truly capable and very impressive, the entire package that they've put together here. All right, so Pete, we are in a very special edition here. This is the Belstaff 1924 special edition, the centennial of Belstaff. For American audiences, who is Belstaff? Why does that matter? What does that partnership mean?
Belstaff is a British clothing manufacturer, as you say, 100 years old now, celebrated their anniversary last year. And they're famous for two jackets really that stand out, which have lent their names to the Grenadier range. We've got the Trialmaster spec, which is our off-road vehicle. And that jacket was made famous by Steve McQueen, motorcycle riders. Belstaff started manufacturing waxed cotton jackets for sailors, for farmers, for people who are working outside. That was their heritage. And INEOS bought Belstaff and have started manufacturing again. They're based in London with us. And this vehicle really is a celebration of Belstaff's 100 years.
Yeah.
This vehicle, we've got a few special features. We've got the 17-inch diamond cut alloy wheels, again on the BF Goodrich KO2 tyres. We've got the dark headlining that you can see above us, and also some darker features inside. So we've got the black rotary dial, the darker face here, and on the outside you'll notice that the grille's got some black detailing, black skid plates as well. And you've got the saddle leather steering wheel and handbrake lever as well. That was actually a request to Jim's to put the saddle leather in. You'll see in the other models you can option a brown saddle leather. The idea being, it's like a Belstaff jacket. It wears in over time. You're going to have this for a long time, and it's going to gain that patina like a good pair of boots in a jacket. So you'll notice that wears nicely over time.
Yeah. And then we aren't currently in it. I have experienced it on this trip, but the off-road pickup truck of Texas, the Quartermaster. I noticed one of the vehicles here has a painted underbody on this, the ladder frame on it. That I was talking with some other people with the team. That is something you could do on the wagon and the pickup truck.
Yeah.
And depending on the color, you're benefiting different charities.
Yeah. So we offer a Rhino Grey chassis or a Halo Red colours. They're powder coated, and the chassis is both injected with wax for rust prevention. You know,
Yep.
that was one of the things that, looking at other off-road vehicles, you know, the benefit of hindsight, being able to look back over previous vehicles, what did we want to, you know, improve and offer? And there's a 12-year warranty on the
Nice.
chassis for anti-perforation. So, like you say, we can have red or grey. The standard colour is black,
Right.
coated. The Rhino Grey, we have a partnership with the Rhino Orphanage
Okay.
in Africa, and Halo Red, the Halo Trust is a landmine charity.
Okay.
So yes, we're working with those.
And one last thing I want to touch on while driving this on road is the powertrain. So a German heart underneath. We've got the BMW inline 6 underneath the hood, ZF 8-speed, and I've already got it on good authority. BMW is phasing out this power plant, so y'all are planning and working on what the next generation is of power plant. But I can say here in this one, the pairing of the ZF 8-speed, the inline 6, I'm never wanting for power. This isn't a race car, this isn't a corner carver, a canyon carver, but it has done quite well in our windy, twisty, exploratory drive throughout the day today. I've been impressed.
The engine has been tuned. You'll find this B58 petrol engine in a wide range of cars, obviously BMW, but also the Toyota Supra.
Yes.
But in this application, we tuned it specifically to ensure that we get that high torque for off-roading, but at low revs. And because that engine's never having to really work very hard, we always say we don't really have a torque curve, we have a torque table. We come up and then it sits in the rev, and you're getting that maximum torque early on, which, as you probably found on the off-road, it gives you a lot of control, so especially in low range with the slow speed driving.
I never once wanted for power off-road in this. On-road, a little bit different story. I mean, you're driving a big off-road truck, but yeah, as far as driving this off-road, never once wanted for power. It felt very composed. Again, very easy to place exactly where I wanted it. And then just some of the obstacles, the downhill descent control, how predictable it was when it came on, when I overrode it. Everything about this is well thought out on the engineering side to make a solid vehicle through and through. Pete, thank you so much for joining me. For all of you, if you want to see more on this vehicle, because there will be more coming, absolutely hit that subscribe button down below. Ring the bell so you're notified when future videos drop from us. Find us on all social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. Links to everything from there. But yes, very much looking forward to getting one of these on my home turf where I can test it on the good old red dirt of East Texas, see what it's like in my day-to-day life. Very much looking forward to all of that. But until next time, gearheads, bye.